Oh, our brothers in Nigeria. We have been hearing that Nigeria is the giant of Africa. But you have been quiet until Kenya came and proved to you that no, that title have been taken away from you. Ghanaians, put that your tribalism aside. This is 21st century.
And as a result of that, the North, especially Kano, has started another level of protest. They are now protesting with Russian flag. Do you know what it means to protest with Russian flag? They're now calling out the president of Russia, President Putin, to interfere in Nigeria.
Tinubu did not yield to the demands of the protesters. In Kano, the protesters were protesting and chanting and asking Russia to intervene to help them out. And they also raised a Russian flag. The latest. Oh, our brothers in Nigeria. We have been hearing that Nigeria is the giant of Africa. But you have been quiet until Kenya came and proved to you that no, that title have been taken away from you. So when we heard that the Gen Z spirit in Kenya spread to Nigeria, we were all expecting to see the giantness of the Nigerian. And they didn't shame us. Everything that Tinubu did never helped. The people actually came out in their numbers. Chai, Omo, you do well. When you see the streets, everywhere was full. It was a nationwide demonstration. Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, everywhere was occupied. Tinubu didn't expect this, so even the counter protest, it didn't help Tinubu. You that could lead protests, now they want to protest against you, said no. Yet you go and sit in ECOWAS Parliament and sanction Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Why? Because you said you are protecting democracy. Even the people who brought you democracy are not practicing it. The whites are practicing human rights. They impose this thing on us. Tinubu, were you not there when the president of Guinea went to the UN and told them that we are pro-Africans? We are neither pro-Russians, pro-Chinese, pro-Russians, but we are simple pro-African. So they should allow us to choose the kind of leadership that we want. And now you are forcing the democracy that the people that gave it to you are not practicing on the people. Just because they said they are not going to allow the West to keep robbing and looting and exploiting their natural resources, and they are fighting neocolonialism, imperialism, and they want sovereignty, freedom for themselves. You say, what is it? You are still in the colonial era. If you don't want freedom for your people and others have chosen freedom, allow them. You're the same person who is sitting in ECOWAS Parliament preaching democracy. People want to protect. You say no. But oh, my brothers in Nigeria, oh, we do all. I love the number that came out. When we Ghana put tribalism aside, if it were to be some tribe in Ghana, that Ghana economy is like this, like banana the streets everywhere, people will come out and protest. But because it is a certain tribe that is in power, they are quiet. Ghanaians, put that your tribalism aside. This is 21st century. Look at Kenyans. Don't they have tribes? They don't have parties, but they kept those things aside. The white man came and targeted you, the youth, because he knows that we are the future leaders. So if you put your tribalism aside and fight for a better Ghana, it will help us. So Nigeria, my brothers, I love you all for this thing that you are truly, you are showing us that you are the giants, but Kenya have overtaking you in this one. And the chant is, Bola Ahmed Tinubu must go, just as Ruto. Period. That's the message.
Protesters in Nigeria are demanding President Bola Tinubu's resignation due to economic hardship and insecurity. Protesters demand relief from economic hardship, including lower fuel prices, reduced electricity tariff, increased minimum wage, and job creation. Protesters want the government to address rising insecurity, including kidnapping, banditry, and Boko Haram attacks. Protesters demand transparency, accountability, and good governance. The protests have been marked by clash between protesters and security forces, resulting in injuries and fatalities, and government has responded with a mix of force and calls for dialogue.
After President Tinubu's speech this morning, another level of protest don start in Kano, because at the end of the day, his speech did not talk about the problem Nigerians are suffering from. It didn't talk about the increase in the cost of living, increase in foodstuff, and increase in the price of fuel. And as a result of that, the North, especially Kano, has started another level of protest. They are now protesting with Russian flag. Do you know what it means to protest with Russian flag? They're now calling out the president of Russia, President Putin, to interfere in Nigeria. They not refuse to accept any form of negotiation. All they are asking for is for change. They are asking for change in government, change in the price of fuel, change in the high cost of living, and change in the price of foodstuff. This is what they are asking for, and they refuse to bow down because the level of hardship and suffering that in this country is too much to ignore.
Protesters in Kano, Nigeria have been waving Russian flags and calling for Russian President Putin to intervene in the country's affairs. The protesters are expressing their frustration with the current government and the economic hardship they are facing. The protest is part of the End Bad Governance movement, which started on August 1st and has been marked violence, looting, and destruction of public and private properties. The display of Russian flags and calls for Putin's interventions has raised concerns about Russian influence in Nigeria and potential for foreign interference in the country's affairs. The Nigerian government has responded to the protests with force, resulting in the death of at least 14 people and the arrest of many protesters. The situation has raised security concerns, with experts warning about the potentials for external forces to explore the situation and undermine Nigeria's democracy and security. The protesters are seeking Russian intervention, suggesting their grievances are not being addressed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. The Russian embassy in Nigeria has denied any involvement in the ongoing protests, stating they do not provide material or financial support to the protesters.
The latest, the president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, have finally come out to speak. We're all waiting for him to address his people. When he came, he said that for him, he will do everything to protect life and properties. He will not sit or stand aloof and allow some few people to destabilize the country just because of some political gain. No, that is not his mission. Tinubu did not yield to the demands of the protesters. In Kano, the protesters were protesting and chanting and asking Russia to intervene to help them out. And they also raised a Russian flag. You know his side. So this didn't go down well with Tinubu. So at least, even if it did not go down with you, Mr. President, what you should have done best, your children are hungry, is to come out and talk things out. And some of the things that they are demanding, at least just talk about them. Maybe one or two. But Tinubu did not mention any in his speech, not even a single one. That is politically moved. And he will not allow such things to happen. He vowed to crack them down. That, how can you come and be causing chaos in the country? For what reason? So Tinubu is not listening to his people. I don't know what he wants. But our brothers in Nigeria, you do all. Stay safe. These protesters were just having a peaceful protest. And all they were chanting was peaceful protest, peaceful protest. Policemen are shooting at these unarmed protesters. The police, are you not so hungry? Is it only the protesters that are hungry? Is it because of the few naira they've given to you? According to reports, most of the politicians and their families are no longer in Nigeria. So if you don't take care and things escalate, you will suffer. The politicians are not there. How many days will that naira that they've given to you last you and your family? So this fight is for everybody. And our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, I love you wherever you are, and stay safe. And we'll keep pushing until we get a better Africa. So that's the latest around the world in Africa and in Nigeria.
Nigerian President Bola Tinubu addressed protesters in a nationwide broadcast, urging them to create space for dialogue and calling for an end to protest. Despite the president's address, protesters claim their demands have not been met and they will continue demonstrating. Security forces have fired tear gas at protesters in Abuja, and there have been reports of thugs attacking protesters. The End Bad Governance protesters remain determined, with organizers calling for more people to join them and condemning the violence against protesters. President Tinubu has offered dialogue, but protesters are concerned about his simultaneous call to suspend protests. Tinubu urged protesters to suspend the demonstrations and engage in dialogue, emphasizing his administration's willingness to listen and address their concerns. He expressed condolences to the families of those who lost their lives during the protest and acknowledged the economic hardships faced by Nigerians. Tinubu assured the protesters that his government is committed to listening and addressing their concerns, but emphasized the need to work together to build a brighter future. Tinubu rejected the use of violence and distraction, emphasizing the importance of peaceful protest and dialogue. Tinubu highlighted his administration's efforts to address the country's economic challenges and improve the lives of Nigerians. The protesters have rejected Tinubu's call for dialogue, stating that their demands have not been met. They have vowed to continue the demonstrations, demanding the release of arrested protesters and pushing for an end to end bad governance and economic hardship. Nigerians believe Western countries, particularly the United States and the UK, have not done enough to address Nigeria's problems and have even contributed to them. Russia has significant economic interest in Nigeria, particularly in the energy sector, and some Nigerians see Russia as a potential alternative to Western economic partners. Some Nigerians are disillusioned with Western powers and see Russia as a counterbalance to Western influence. The ongoing protests and economic hardship have led to desperation and frustration, causing some Nigerians to seek external help, including from Russia. Some Nigerians may have misconceptions about Russia's intentions or capabilities, seeing Russia as a savior or a more effective partner than Western countries. Thank you guys for staying to this moment. I still remain your girl, Just Cheesy. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell in case whenever I post new videos, YouTube will always notify you. Don't forget to drop your comments. I love you.